happy holiday. So our Professor Madya, Dr. Wan Azlinda binti Wan Muhammad, and my fellow friends. Okay, we are from Group 3. We will present about the users, our research about the users and factor acceptance, or known as FOC, in Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, FSKTM, for 1 year study until 4th University at University Tun Musim on Malaysia. Right. My other team members are Ahmad Razi bin Abdul Hadi, Hajida binti Kamal Zaman, Muhammad Syawal bin Ramli, Muhammad Syahrin Naim bin Sadri, Nusabira binti Mat Hasni, and Nurul Ain binti Rosli, and myself is Taufik Nur bin Harun. Now, let's go to the introduction. Okay, first, we need to know that the Malaysia Education Blueprint from 2015 to 2025 for higher education outlines 10 spikes to achieve student aspiration, and one of the aspiration is globalized online learning, or known as GOL. Second is the Ministry of Higher Education has set e-learning as one of the main agenda in the National Higher Education Strategic Plan, or known as PSBTN. Alright, according to MB, from the year 2013, an e-learning system is a system that used as a teaching learning process implemented without having to face directly between the teacher and the student. This means that the student and the teacher don't need to see face to face physically, but using the medium of internet, we can share the information. Next, we move to the objective of this study. Okay, the first objective is to identify the users of the full online classroom, or FOC, for FSKTM student at UTHM. Alright, so from that statement, we know that our sample and population is from student from FSKTM. Okay. Second is we need to identify the acceptance of full online classroom factors for FSKTM students in UTHM. So the second objective is we want to know what the factor of the acceptance of FOC from sample, that is FSKTM student. Okay, the third objective is to identify the difference between gender and the level of full online classroom utilization and the FSKTM students full access classroom, FOC, acceptance factor at UTHM. Okay, the third objective is we're focusing on the difference between the gender, that is female and male, for the FOC acceptance factor. Okay, the fourth objective is to identify the relationship between the use of the full online classroom and the acceptance of the full online classroom. Okay, the fourth objective is to identify the relationship between the use of the full online classroom and the acceptance of the full online classroom, which means we want to know the relationship from the use of that FOC and the acceptance of the FOC. Okay, now we move to the scope of this study. Okay, first, this study was conducted on the Faculty of Science and Information Technology FSKTM students from year 1 to year 4. As I explained before, that our sample is from FSKTM student from first year to the 4th year. Okay, next. Okay, this study involved a total of 105 first year students until for year 4 at FSKTM. So this is our sample that involve 105 students of FSKTM. Okay, now we move to methodology. Okay, first, the design of this study is quantitative, which is suitable for large population. Okay, now, and the design we using survey method, which is we use questionnaire. We set our design. Okay, let's continue for design. We use survey method, which is questionnaire. Okay, now we move to population and sample. Okay, for population, the total of population of FSKTM student is 1,319 student. Alright. From the sample, so for the sample is 105 randomly selected student. Okay. Now we need to. I want to explain that how do we get 105 randomly selected student. Okay. We use Gracie and Morgan table 1970. Okay. Which is the value for population nearest 1,319 student is 105 sample. Okay. Okay. Now we move to instrument. Alright. For our instrument, we use questionnaire available to 5 section. Okay, we divide our questionnaire to 5 section, and we use Likert scale. As we know that Likert scale is the range is between 1 and 5. 1 is very disagree, and 5 is very agree. Totally agree. Okay. Our location is at Faculty of FSKTM UTHM.
Assalamualaikum. I am Ahmad Razi. My part is to discuss about the questionnaire that we already distribute. Okay, the questionnaire have 3 parts, which part A, part B, and part C. Part A is about demography of respondent, content such as the age, the race, the gender. Okay, now we will discuss about part B. The part B is the readiness of the student. Okay, for the questionnaire, the readiness of the student, the most strongly disagree is about they comfortable to use FOC in their study in university. That is one frequency and 1.0 percentage for the strongly disagree. And for the very disagree, they said they have a suitable gadget to use in FOC, such as laptop and handphone, which are 37 frequency or 37.8 percentage. Part B consists 16 items that's about the readiness of the student using FOC. Next, about part C in the questionnaire, consists 27 of items are about factor of acceptance of FOC. Okay, the most strongly agree is about FOC consists of information that we easy to understand. The frequency is 38 respondent or 36.2 percentage. Okay, next, the strongly disagree is about they are tend to use FOC very often. Is 6 frequency or 6 respondent, that are 5.7 percentage.
Assalamualaikum, I am Muhammad Ramli. So for the next point in our presentation is about finding of objective 1. So after the analysis of the 105 students in FSKTM in UTHM, so we analyzed that for the finding of objective 1, the uses of full online classroom FOC for FSKTM students in UTHM. So in the discussion that we can make is the majority of FSKTM students have the right gadgets to support the full online classroom requirement. So that's mean they have the requirement like the smartphone and the latest technology for the full online classroom. So the objective for the finding of objective 1, we can analyze that the requirements of the students is enough to use full online classroom. So for the points number 2 is some students are less comfortable using the full online classroom. This means some of the few students in our research that are not they are disagree about the full online classroom. They are not ready yet for the full online classroom because some of the students are like to see face to face with the lecturers, and they want to if in the class if they don't understand in the question, they want to ask face to face to the lecturer. So that's some of the reason that we analyze in our questionnaire. So for the points number 3, full online classroom learning is interesting but useful, but nowadays in there is still less willing student to use full online classroom learning methods. So it is related for the points number 2. It is popular nowadays about full online classroom that we call FOC in UTHM and also with the FSKTM student. But it's also for the discussion, some in questionnaire we can see about some of the few that being answered about the questionnaire are not willing yet to ready for the learning this method for the full online classroom. So that is for the finding of objective number 1 that been analyzed from the 105 students in FSKTM. Okay, for the finding objective number 2, the acceptance of full online classroom for C factors that FSKTM students in UTHM. So in this finding of objective 2, we analyze from the questionnaire 2, majority of FSKTM students understand the information presented through the full online classroom that we are analyzed, that we have research FOC that we conduct. They are be given for the slide in the subject for the assignment for the subject that been exposed in Edmodo in web page. So this method are enough to give the handout the information for the students to replace the teaching in the classes. So from the analysis, FSKTM students are understand and give a good response in their assignments tasks. So this proof that they are full online classroom is been okay to use for the FSKTM students. So for the point number 2, the analysis of the study conduct the level of frequency tendency of students using the full online classroom system is less. So this is the system is less used because the full online classroom is still in under beginning phase for the university. So the university are not using the full online classroom in every session of the studies in UTHM. So there are still some of the improvement in the system. So in the next generation, that will be greatness in this system. So for because then points number 3 is the frequency of students using the FOC learning system is influenced by the frequency of the institution implementing it. So like I said before, this is influence of the institution, because the more institution use the full online classroom, the more student will get better or adapt to the full online classroom. So for the point number 4, full online classroom learning is knowledgeable. So this is the new method of the way of the student in university learning in university with the new way of the gaining the knowledge. Okay. Okay, for the finding of objective 3, identify the difference between gender and the level for online classroom, FOC, and the FSKTM students full access classroom, FOC acceptance factors at UTSM. So, for the first point, according to the analysis, FOC acceptance rate among the girls is higher than compared to male students. Then the acceptance factor of the full online classroom FOC for the FSKTM students show less rate of difference. So this means 2 points show that there is not difference there is no difference in result which FOC can be used or not, depends on higher of the girl student compared to the male student. But this is show that full online classroom students are accepted by the students in FSKTM faculty. So the gender factors do not have a large impact on the level of FOC use, as both gender have a similar position in the analysis of in this research. So the FOC acceptance factors indicate that the majority response tend to agree or disagree with each other. So we analyze that between male or female students in FSTM students, they are still in the rate of the middle of the acceptance of the full online classroom, because there are still some of the students agree to use this full online classroom more than the regular method of the study, but some less, because they are still want to use the method before in the classroom, because they are more comfortable in that way. So from this point of view, we can see that the acceptance of the full online classroom for the finding of objectives T is middle for the FSM students. For the last but not least, finding of objective 4, we go to straight to the question research for number 4, that is identify the relationship between the use of the full online classroom FOC and the acceptance of the full online classroom. This means that is the exposure, the expand of the full online classroom in UTSM for the FSKTM students, that is being tell that in this research we can say we can conclude that the usage of full online classroom by FSKTM students analyzed showing high usage among FSKTM students using FOC as well is accepted by the majority of the students. So what I mean to say is that the full online classroom that being used now and that being used for the task, for the telling the information in the classes are now being able to understand by the student of the FSTM. So the majority that been we made from the questionnaire that we be used is full online classroom is well accepted from the majority of the 105 questionnaire that we been hand out. So from that handout, we can see that majority of the students are well accepted of the full online classroom, that then they want full online classroom want to be upgraded for the more of the users in their faculty of the FSKTM. So that's all for the finding of objective.
Based on our observation for this FOC for student FSKTM, it shows that student majority having their choice at agree or not disagree for using FOC learning. So that university need to improve. University need to know how to improve their own learning by using FOC. So that's all from our group. Thank you.